If you've ever made a mistake and immediately thought, oh, I jinxed it, or I must have subconsciously ruined this for myself, but you get into a loop about it, then this session is for you. That inner critic that demands perfection can be relentless. And when things don't go exactly to plan, whether you miss the mark or something just goes wrong, the guilt and belief that you somehow sabotage the outcome, you jinxed it, can be overwhelming. And this is where that negative thought loop takes over and locks you in, running over and over again in your mind, guilt or shame, all the things that were, should have, could have, would have, even if it was something you had literally no control over what went wrong. But once that loop starts, you just can't shut it back down. And you deserve to break free from that thought loop and that pattern of those thought loops, to let go of that heavy feeling that you're responsible for every imperfection. So we're going to separate your worth from results and help release any fear that starts or keeps the loop running. So it is important to note that this video is for general anxiety related to self-blame, perfectionism, and the fear of failure. It's not a treatment for diagnosed obsessive compulsive disorder or OCD. If you have a diagnosis of OCD, please be certain to check with your healthcare provider to ensure that this method will not directly counter any current regimes, medications, behavioral protocols that you're on. If they say it's okay, then come on back. And you can see the description box for a few articles on the research, the science, and how this otherwise works to help us rewrite patterns and beliefs. Rate yourself on a 1 to 10 scale, how you feel about this as I talk about it, and we'll check back in after tapping to see where it's at. As we tap, if you get overwhelmed, just keep tapping and breathing, and let whatever emotion or sensation or memory comes up, just let it up and let it process through, and then repeat after me again when you can. So that's it. Just tap with and repeat after me. Even though I feel like I jinxed it somehow, I choose to drop this thought pattern and find peace. Even though I'm spiraling about this and feel lost in intense emotions and thoughts, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though this negative thought loop takes over when things aren't perfect, I'm open to hitting the pause button now. Even though I get caught up in this idea that I jinx things, I choose to honor and accept myself deeply and completely as I learn to drop these patterns now. It starts as this feeling that I sabotaged it. This thought that I jinxed it. And then I'm stuck in this negative thought loop. I'm the reason it's not perfect. And now I just can't shut it off. I keep thinking I should have known better, and now I'm paying for it. I don't know how I should have known better or what I should have done. But that's not logical. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe I can start to let this go now? But still, this self-blame is so loud. It's relentless and exhausting and scary. I need to break this spiral of negative thinking constantly. So I'm doing that. I'm letting it go now. It's safe. It's okay. It's okay to drop this whole negative loop now. It's okay to bring myself quiet and peace now. No more negative thinking. Letting the anxiety go now. I'm choosing to exit these thought loops now. Even if this is something that should have, could have gone different. It wasn't jinxed, it was just a mistake. There's no such thing as jinxing. I release any power of these negative jinxing spirals now. I accept that sometimes life just isn't perfect, and I let it go. I choose to separate my worth, my sanity from this idea of jinxing. There's no such thing. I'm hitting the stop button on these thought patterns now. There's no such thing as jinxing. Mistakes happen, and that's life. I didn't jinx anything. Nobody jinxes anything. It's just life. I choose compassion now. I'm breaking this loop and dropping this idea of jinxing for good now. I'm finding peace in imperfections. I'm releasing the need for perfection and releasing the need to blame myself. I am safe even when things go wrong. I accept that jinxed just isn't a thing. I'm choosing peace and acceptance. Take a deep breath. See where you are on that 1 to 10 scale. It's really important to tell that inner critic that it's time to just step aside now. Sometimes something just goes wrong, and whether it's a mistake or it just is what it is, it doesn't mean you failed or you've sabotaged your future or that something is jinxed. So I'm glad to see you here giving yourself a way to break those, kinds of thought loops. For good would be best, of course. But even knowing that, say, this video is here now and you can stop a loop in its tracks, knowing that it's a good tool. And, so yeah, if you just have a general idea overall, then, you can do this until you, once or twice a day till it's at 0. And then you can come back if you find yourself in a spiral about something specific in the future and you want to break that spiral and move on with your day, because once you've done your overall idea of, jinxing, or that if something goes wrong, it must have been your fault or you must have jinxed it, and you can get that down to a 0, then if something somehow in the future, usually it kind of takes care of it for good, but if something happens or you realize you're starting to go back into that pattern of thinking, this must be all my fault, you can come back to this and remember that jinxing is not a thing. Of course we make mistakes, but that's something to learn from, or just not repeat again. It doesn't mean that you jinx it somehow, or, because you, or, especially if it's due to a thought pattern of, oh, I did, X, Y, and Z, leaving the house in the wrong order, I must have jinxed it. Now, again, if you're consistently doing that and it's interrupting your daily life, friendships, jobs, that sort of thing, then it's very important that you speak to your doctor about that, because those can be potentially signs of OCD or anxiety or something like that, where you want to stop that very early on, so that it doesn't become truly life altering. But if you notice that it is altering, in its own right, and that doing something like this or behavior modification of your own sort, where you go, you know what, no, I'm not going to let myself go back into the house and redo everything just because I think, oh, I might have jinxed, we're going to put an end to that. That's not a thing. This is not, how that happens. And if you find that you absolutely can't, then please do talk to your mental health provider or your GP, your family physician, that sort of thing. But otherwise, it can just be kind of a maybe something that you could, or you may have, and they may have said it's fine to do tapping, and then by all means, welcome, and keep coming back to this. But sometimes it can just be like when life is just giving it to you, and it's one thing after another, and it's a relationship, and then your car, and then it's, your parents are mad at you, or your siblings mad at you, fight with your best friend, and it's your job goes wonky, and your computer died, and you just finished your, paper that you've been working on for 6 weeks on it, and all these kind of things, and you can feel like, am I jinxing this? Did I do this? And it's one thing if we're just saying it passing by, but if we're actually stuck in a loop where we think, oh my god, I did this because, then we want to use this video and bring it down to a 0, and then it's here if you need it again. So you didn't jinx it. Just keep reminding yourself that's not how that works. And so if you could click like or leave a comment, it does help me grow as a channel. Of course, subscribe and you'll get notified of new videos, and all that engagement I'm super grateful for. Thank you very much. And I will see you in the next video. Take care of yourself. Later.